Yes, it's important, I think, that teachers are always reflecting on what they're doing, and actually I think they probably do so. So maybe the question is, how can they do it in a way that is regular and constructive? I think that's what you mean by useful. And to be, if a teacher is disciplined, and let's face it, lots of us as teachers are not so disciplined, what would be ideal is to set aside a little time after each spell of teaching, if not after every lesson, impractical, at least at the end of the day, to think through some key questions about what one's done and how it went, particularly from the point of view of how it went for the learners. So the big question is, the biggest question probably ought to be, did the learners learn while I was teaching? And I prefer to call it supporting their learning rather than teaching, because we all know that learners don't learn what one teaches, they learn, and the teaching helps them to learn. So did they actually learn, and in what way did they learn? Probably, did they learn to do something better than they did before? We're not talking about did they learn the present perfect, because probably the present perfect is not to be learnt in a lesson or even in a day, something that takes a long time. But did they actually make steps forward in their ability to use that, or to express an invitation, an apology, to ask for information at low levels in terms of functional use of language? And if they didn't, was there any specific reason why they didn't? Were they turned off? So it brings us to the question of motivation. How engaged were they? How motivated were they? And if they weren't motivated, why weren't they motivated? Why weren't they engaged? Or if some were and some weren't, why, who? What could be done to change that? And that brings us to then the question of how my activities and use of the textbook went. Was it actually successful? Did it work the way I was hoping it would work? Or did it not work at all well? Or did it work better than I thought it would? And if so, why in each case? So what one's looking for, I think, in these reflections, and it would be good in that spell, sitting down and thinking about it, to have a few headings which could be the same every time, about learning, activities, motivation, and what could I change, do better, try, experiment with next time.